This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your hosts, Rich Post, John Bonas, Mike Mallet, and Chris Marquardt.
Good evening and welcome to the 31st Lap, episode number 76, coming to you Thursday, the 12th of June. That's right, episode 76. Last week was 75.
Wow, you can count.
Yep. Yeah, well, I launched the show last week saying that it was number 74. We had two 74s in a row. It was kind of fun. Welcome to the 31st Lap. I'm Chris Marquardt, joining me in studio tonight. We've got Jay Fish back, we've got John Bomas back, and we've got Mike Mallet back. We're going to be catching up with Rich Post a little bit later on. He's going to cut short one of his evening engagements so that he can come here late. So we'll be catching up with him a little bit later on. We've got Ryan Watt, the modified winner from over at Bridgeport, going to be on the program with us a little bit later on.
Penn last night.
Penn last night.
Yep.
And we've also got a very hot Kevin Ward joining us after he's got 2 wins now on the ESS season. Yep. And we've got Doug Emery after he picked up that runner-up showing over at Evanston Mill Speedway. The big news, everybody's probably already heard about it by now, the passing of Jason Leffler in the wake of that accident over there at the Bridgeport Speedway. I guess first we'll just kind of get some of the thoughts if anybody's got any. There was some really, really interesting stuff going on Sirius's NASCAR show today. There was all sorts of call-ins, and they were discussing how there was somebody that called in and said basically the 410s are too fast to have at Bridgeport, and somebody else was right there. The next caller was in and was really applauding Doug Hoffman and his efforts bringing the modifieds back there and running the dry slick, and made the point about how the track had slowed down almost a full second just during qualifying between Danny Lasowski going out and then Greg Hodnick going out after that. And it was some really cool conversation, some really cool discussion and thoughts and remembrances and stuff. And one of the coolest things, and I want to get this out there, we're going to mention this a couple times through the course of the show, Delco Signs down there in Pennsylvania, which is a regular vinyl company that is at all those sprint car tracks down there, Williams Grove, Lincoln, all the big tracks down there in Central PA, is going to be selling $4 or $5 Jason Leffler decals. And make sure you get on there, delcosigns.com. Check those out. Try and support them. All the proceeds from those decal sales are going to go to Charlie, which is the Jason's 5-year-old son. Yeah. So I thought that was really awesome that they were jumping on board with that. You know, Mike's our resident sprint car guy.
Yeah,
you're over there hanging out in the live chat.
I'm just kind of here. You know, it's always sad when you hear about guys getting injured, you know, and then ultimately passing away in our sport.
Well, this is the first. This is the first named driver that we've lost since Dan Weldon. But there's been other people that have passed since then.
The problem is, you know, I guess what has annoyed me all day today, and I'm sure it's annoyed most of us that are race fans, is the coverage of the event. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a tragedy, but then to write all the things that have been written today, and nobody has any freaking clue what they're talking about.
No, the people reporting don't have any idea what they're writing about.
And it's
other than the fact that there was a former NASCAR driver that was killed in a racing accident. That's all they want to talk about is, you know, the fact that a NASCAR driver was killed. They don't tell you what he was doing, you know, where he was. They'll tell you where he was, but that's it.
Right.
They give you his name, where the accident. They'll name the track where the accident happened, but they don't
understand it.
Understand what he was doing, what he was racing. They don't
everything
understand,
relates
back to NASCAR. It has got nothing to do with it.
Everything to them is NASCAR. It's
yes, because that's the only thing they know about.
Right. They don't realize.
And they don't even know about that. They just know about it. It's because
they know
it's in the news.
Right. They don't understand. You know, like I know they've had people on ESPN talking today, like the NASCAR experts talking about sprint car racing, and it's like, dude, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like, and that's the worst thing because it's like an injustice to the whole. Yeah. To him and the whole sport.
I think it's a little bit. I don't know if exploiting is the right word, but I kind of get that vibe that they're. Now they're just NASCAR star goes to yokel track and gets killed, and now they're talking about how everything has to be super safe, and they need to let this technology from NASCAR trickle down and make it available to these local level racers. And
I mean,
Jeff Burton had a lot of good things to say, and I like Jeff Burton's point that he said that a lot of people are saying that racing has become too safe, or that it's over security blanketed and
Right.
things like that. And he goes, "There's no such thing as too safe."
Now here's something that was said today about it. It's a quote from ESPN. It says, "While it's in the minor leagues of car racing, it was the highest profile event so far this year with better known drivers, more expensive tickets, and a bigger
Highest
prize than the
profile.
usual Friday and Saturday night events at the raceway." Highest profile event so far.
Highest compared to what?
That's the thing.
At that track?
Who knows? But they had a race of champions.
And that's not even true because
I would
they've
say
had
the
a couple
Keith
poker
Hoffman.
series races.
I think the Keith Hoffman Memorial would have been the
Yeah.
that
the
would have
first
been the
race
right,
was
that
their
was the
highest profile
race
for them.
Right.
But as far as in racing in general, see, that tells you exactly.
That just tells you what
they
you're
don't
dealing
know what
with.
in the hell they're talking about.
Right, and it's sad, irritating.
They're just
and all that.
reporters, and they don't know anything about what they're
They don't
reporting
care to
on.
know. But the thing is,
they
they don't
just
care
want
to
to
know.
get details about the name,
Yeah.
the proper names, where it happened, and that's pretty much it. And
Yeah.
they don't care about anything else to do with it.
No.
They just want to report that the guy was killed in a car accident, race car accident.
They're tourists. They're just stopping in when it's convenient for them and when they can make a buck off of it. It's
Yeah,
sensational.
and it sucks that there's no, there's been a lot of guys that have passed away in our sport, sadly.
Yep.
And nobody else gets coverage, or nobody else even, not
No,
that
it's only-
we don't care. Like when you see someone pass away,
Oh God, yeah.
The racing
if it's,
community
even if
mourns.
it's nobody you know,
Yes.
it still affects you.
Well, I was
Right,
texting you
absolutely.
today,
Yeah.
man.
You don't have to know, guys.
And listening,
Yeah.
listening to it coming home, man. The only thing I can think about is that Charlie had his kindergarten graduation a couple weekends ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And now,
And that poor kid's name,
Yeah.
his name and his picture has been drug all over the internet
Yeah.
the last
Oh yeah.
several hours between last night and today now.
Yeah.
And the poor kid's only 5 years old.
Yep.
He doesn't need, his family doesn't need his picture all over the place. I mean, most of them are with his dad, and it's nice. I get it, but I don't know. It just, I don't know that you want to drag the kid into all this. He's got enough to deal with, But
Yeah.
live
it's
chat,
it's the whole thing.
CNY Auto Freak, our fan from Utica.
Yep.
There was a tweet from the
John?
AP giving a link to the most notable driver deaths, and to that he says they're all notable. I mean,
Yeah.
and he's right. I mean, where was the coverage when Lyle Sherwood had a heart attack and drove across the infield with a car wide open?
I mean,
that was just as heinous as any other accident.
they
I mean,
don't-
if
but
they're
again, it's
covering,
not-
if you're going with the it bleeds, it leads kind of thing, which
Mhm.
is I think this is a little bit of that same predatory mentality.
Sure.
That kind of thing. Where was the stuff on Lyle Sherwood, or when that I can't remember his name, when that sprint car went crashing into the pits and took out the grandfather and nephew or whatever it was.
in California.
Yeah, in California. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, again, it's I talked to somebody today, and they're like, "Well, is there a place where you can find out how many people died in dirt racing?" I'm like,
Who keeps track of that?
Nobody keeps track of it. Like, it's not something
Did
that
you
you
tell,
talk about.
Did you tell him go?
Yeah, there isn't a website for that.
No.
Deadracers.com? I mean, come on.
Yeah, there's
Well,
not. I mean,
Jesus.
it's
really? Who,
like,
who,
I think
who asks a question like
like
that?
people.
Lord.
I just
Well,
think,
they're looking for statistics to paint this as
Right.
a rebel sport where you're on the outer fringe and ragged edge of out of control. And that's kind of what Jeff Burton alluded to. We've had this conversation when Mark Martin crashed. I think it was at Michigan or at Texas, and he hit the pit wall abutment.
Yep.
And we talked about what can you do to make it safer, and there's a certain inherent danger. Now, and one of the prevailing themes there, it applies the same as what we're talking about here. You want racing to be as safe as possible.
Absolutely.
There's some inherent risk in it. To overstep things like with that pit wall discussion, I don't think you need to do a whole lot with a pit wall discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Do you need to make these giant strides and change everything at Bridgeport Speedway and
can't.
redesign an entire sprint car? No, I don't
No.
think you do
No,
either.
and
I mean, this is an accident. They don't call it on purpose.
Right.
Right.
And it'll always be evolving to be safer. That will never stop.
I mean, we were talking on the way out. Some of the things they've changed. I mean, you look at the seats now that guys use. You look at the Hans devices. You look at some of the adjustments they made to cages. I mean, there's a lot of things that they've done to make cars safer. But inherently, racing is dangerous.
yes.
Right.
Especially an open wheel car. Of all the forms of dirt racing,
Motorsportsmemorial.com, by
wheel-
the way,
yes.
was the website that you were talking about.
I'm sorry,
Motorsports Memorial. Zoopy had it.
there actually is a website that
Motorsportsmemorial.org.
talks about all the people that died, sadly. But sprint car racing, of all the forms of racing that we watch and go to, it is the most dangerous, period.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, I mean, I think NASCAR drivers are safer than a guy in a 410 sprint car going around a track at
by far and away.
140
think
miles
about,
an hour.
Think
Yeah,
about how
abs-
much car you've got around.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's other forms of motorsports that are very dangerous. I mean,
I'm not saying that they aren't
IndyCar,
dangerous,
Formula
but-
One,
right,
those
right.
cars are very, very
Right,
dangerous.
but I'm saying, like, in terms of what we watch,
Right.
that's by far the most dangerous. Anything with a wing on it, and the non-wing guys are even more crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's not.
Yep.
It's not. It's
Well, they're
I blanked on Ryan Watt's tag for later on. I put in there that he won at Bridgeport and didn't even mention Pencan.
that's good.
You're all right.
we corrected.
We got your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't fix it now either because we started.
He did win at Bridgeport at one point.
Yes.
It was
Well,
last
he
week.
races. Yeah, he did win there Saturday. Actually,
Yeah,
it was,
so
it
you're
was the
good,
second
man.
win of the year. Well, I thought when we were talking about it, I thought that whoever set up Ryan Watt, my mindset was they also had the sprint cars there, and we're going to tie that together with the sprint car people from earlier, and then we can get the modified guy and cover all of our bases for all of our modified fans. I didn't really look into it that much, and all this stuff was scheduled before anything happened with Jason.
Yeah, it's.
But yeah, back to the whole reporting thing. These reporters are just using the NASCAR moniker
Yeah.
because they know they're going to get national attention off it.
Right, and that's
And
the
why
only
they're
reason they
reporting
care.
on it. If he wasn't a NASCAR driver, you would have never heard anything.
And yeah,
I will say this: Donnie Kreitz was on that, or there was a discussion about Donnie Kreitz this morning, and he said he wasn't going to compete over there because it was so fast.
I've heard a couple of guys
I'm
saying
sure
it was
there's-
fast.
I'm sure he's not the only one that stays away from places like that just because of that. But
I mean, Mike's frame of reference. What do you think? Is Bridgeport too big to have sprint cars at?
Ooh, that's a loaded question.
Yeah.
going into yesterday, you would say no.
No,
But
here's the thing.
Last night's
Here's the
events
thing.
change your thoughts.
Bridgeport is an extremely
Yes.
fast racetrack.
Yes, it is.
Three-quarter mile?
Yeah,
It's
5/8.
5/8.
5/8. It is probably one of the fastest tracks in the Northeast.
It's
Probably the fastest track in the Northeast.
Yeah,
And
with the
it is
exception
because
of
enormous.
it's a momentum
with the,
track.
with
You
the
don't
exception
really,
of the mile.
yeah. I mean, you don't really lift, and it's just, it's fast.
It is.
I mean, but I've heard
Very
guys.
fast.
I've talked to like Greg Hodden at Sealands Grove one night, and he said to me, he goes, the track is almost too fast.
Mhm.
So there can be tracks that get too fast.
Yeah.
And was it too fast last night? I don't know. But you don't. I mean, the thing is, it wasn't like
Well, the
Leffler,
track dropped a
Leffler-
second in qualifying by itself.
Well, that's what all tracks do with sprint cars.
That's one of the things that we're talking
Leffler,
about.
from all indications, he crashed by himself. There wasn't like anybody was
Right.
around him.
Was there was there a car failure that caused the accident?
I read today
I-
online that it was a tire blew. Didn't
Yeah.
say which one, if it was a right rear, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
but
did you see the footage from
the
the
car veered
helicopter?
into the fence,
Did
so
you
that
happen to
tells
catch
me-
that?
Yeah.
Where like part of the car's here and
Yeah.
the rest of the car's
Yeah.
over there? I mean,
Yeah.
that thing took some
Yeah.
heinous damage.
When I saw the article this afternoon that said a tire blew, to me that had to be the right rear, only because if it veered, because the tire blew and it veered into the fence. So for it to veer into the fence, you would
Would've
think it would
been
have to be
right
on the
rear.
right side.
Well, it doesn't
Same.
matter. Any rear tire, if you blow a rear tire, you're going to go. You're going that way because the car
Wants to go that way.
wants to go
anyways.
that way. Anyways,
Yeah.
that's why this the safest spot to stand is in the infield.
Yep.
As long as cars aren't coming through there, right, Jay?
Absolutely right. Been there, done that, brother.
Yeah, because whenever a car breaks in racing, no matter what, whether it's a left rear or right rear, it's going to shoot right, just depending on how hard the angle will be that it shoots right in terms of which tire you blow.
Yeah, the car wants so badly just to go right, especially the sprint cars even more so.
Yeah.
You know,
Boy,
the
our
wing-
live chat's on fire.
Yep.
I can't keep up.
Good,
So-
good.
So I mean, it's sad,
it's
and
been
it
terrible,
reminds you,
man.
and it brings it back, and it reminds you that what our sport is all about, and the
Well, there was two passings that you were commenting on in the last couple weeks on Facebook.
I mean, there's been a lot of passings as of late. I mean, you had
The super modified guy.
the wingless guy out in
Yeah, Josh Burton.
Josh
Yeah.
Burton died in Indiana.
Yep.
Then you had the two dwarf car guys in Nevada we were talking about the one week. They died on the last lap, 2 60-year-old gentlemen.
Yeah, you told me about
Yeah.
that.
Yep. So
Well, you had the whole spectator deal out in California too. That
yeah,
sprint
right.
car
I
that
mean,
went
there's
out
been,
of the ballpark.
I mean, racing is inherently dangerous. We've had this conversation on here a million times.
Yeah.
Whether you're a driver, a spectator, a crew guy, I mean, you can get hurt at any point, and we all know that when we go there.
you can be a fan.
Right.
We've
Right.
seen
There's
that
no-
already twice
right.
this year.
Yeah, you're in harm's
Look
way
at-
from the moment you
Look
sign
at
in
the guy
the
the guy at Daytona when Kyle Larson's car went through the fence,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and he was a ways away from the track.
yeah. So
You know,
Yeah,
all
I mean,
things
we've-
considered.
We've seen 2 instances just this year where fans were hurt in the stands.
yeah. I mean, it's
It's the way it is. I mean, you put your life on the line every time you get in any automobile. Go get in your own car, drive down the street. It can be dangerous.
I don't want to ride with you anymore.
Except for you, Grandma. Jeepers creepers. We left the house at 5 o'clock. Just barely made it on time for
my
the
God.
show.
You don't ever have to worry about accusing me of driving slow. That's for sure.
It was nice and smooth.
Unfortunately.
It felt good.
Yeah. So
I got a lot to prove.
Well,
You got a
Don't
long
drive
nap in,
slow.
huh?
Yeah, so we'll have to wait. I mean, again, we won't know anything about cause of death or any of that until.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing you're going to get isn't a thorough investigation because everything in New Jersey, the state troopers are heavily involved in the racing. So.
Yeah, New Jersey doesn't slouch on that kind of stuff.
No. The state police has a whole unit on motorsports for the 3 tracks that they have.
Yep, for both
the
tracks.
4 tracks or whatever, and so they'll take care of it. And they'll look and
to practice. They go to the horse tracks just to bone up.
Yeah, so they'll look into it, and we'll know. We'll know what caused it. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind you'll know everything that you need to know. Sadly, I mean, you don't want those details and all that, but you will get them. So, I mean, the only thing we can all say is just, pray for the Leffler family at this point and all of his friends. I mean, there's a lot of people that knew him. If you read Twitter last night, it was unbelievable how many people.
My Twitter blew up.
Yeah, and I tried to retweet some of that. And
the Twitter was blowing up in the stands. Everybody in the stands. There's numerous people came up to me. Did you hear what happened?
Yeah.
It just word spread so fast while I was at the track last night. Holy crap!
Yeah. So explain if you can. Okay,
New Jersey's got a whole department that's dedicated to covering motorsports, and if there's an injury or fatality at the track, they stop everything immediately, and it's in lockdown. You can't even move the car until the state police shows up.
When you go to race,
state police are in control of it.
When you go to race in New Jersey, all of your safety stuff is gone through by the state police.
Yes,
like you come in, they check your helmet, they check your gloves, they check your fire suit. They check your belts. I mean, they check everything over to make sure your car is safe. Also, there's age limits and things like that. In New Jersey, you have to be a certain age to compete.
Yeah.
You have to wear pants in the pits, and there's all these.
No matter what.
You can't go on the racetrack. When I had to work the ARDC opener
without white pants
at New Egypt, I got sent over in the infield and stood in turn 2 to watch when our guys were out there. In case something happened, I could radio what's going on, how are they doing, but we cannot set foot on the racetrack. Mm-hmm. Only the New Egypt Speedway safety crew that's assigned, trained, they're the only ones that can set foot on the racetrack. Yep. We do not. If we go near that racetrack surface, we're getting screamed at. You do not go near it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean,
that car couldn't be moved. They
investigate treat
the whole
everything
thing
it's like a highway crash.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. That's what somebody said in here.
It's a crime scene, man.
Yep.
And so it's
to them.
Yep. And it's. I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad. I don't know,
and rightly so. I mean, when we have some time for some perspective on this deal, an investigation like this could really bring some safety movement.
Like again, and that's what you
hope.
I mean, if anything,
you hope that's all it does come out of it. You hope that if you're the worst, obviously the worst already happened. But as far as for the track, you don't want to see something happen to the track where it ends up getting shut down because of this.
If it was a safety factor, because it might have been just a freak deal, like we were talking about, a tire goes, or just
right place, right time kind of thing. I mean, it's like Dan Weldon. Oddly enough, when Dan Weldon lost his life in that accident, he was testing a car that would have remedied that. If he was in that car, his odds of survival would have been a whole lot better.
Yep.
That type of situation really wasn't going on.
Yep.
But all the same, I mean, there were people that I've heard a lot of armchair quarterbacks, and I mean, I guess we're kind of not immune from that title, but there's a lot of people that from outside of the racing world that are coming in saying that Jeff Burton and Randy LaJoie need to be appointed safety director of motorsports or something like that so they can oversee all this. I'm like, Jeff Burton's not. He's very much a safety advocate, but you don't need an overseer. I mean, Randy LaJoie has done so much for racing in what he's designed in his seats. For anybody to come out and say that this is the guy that you need to do whatever, it kind of diminishes what he's already done.
Right.
He's done so much, and the Butler seats, the same thing.
Ultimately, racer safety, you can mandate the rules, but ultimately it comes down to the driver themselves.
Preference.
Yeah, I mean, we can sit here and talk about it all day long and say you're going to do this, this, and this, and this, but the guys have to do it. I mean, I still know guys that race sprint cars that don't wear a neck restraint.
That's the thing. We don't even know what he was wearing last night.
Right, and that to me is
there's another wild card in this. There's another wild card in this is that these chassis are made by people.
Right.
They're made by people,
right.
and it's made out of metal.
Again, there's only
tires,
so much.
There's so many variables. I mean,
and we can sit here and talk about it all night, but it's not. It's. We don't know at this point.
Aside from putting them in a full-blown tank, there's going to be danger there.
Right, and that's why. But
that's
why.
With a wing on it.
I mean, sadly, why do we go to the races? Because we like the speed of it.
People love danger,
and people are attracted to watching things that are dangerous. Why do people watch a guy walk across the Grand Canyon on a wire?
On a wire.
Yeah, because
they think that he can freaking fall.
Right. So we watch the danger of it, and that's.
You like the danger of it, but I don't think anybody goes to the racetrack thinking they want to see somebody get hurt or
no, but we all know it's possible.
Right. We all know in the back of our mind.
I think there's a degree of passion, and people go to see the competition and see the cars go fast and see who's going to do what and race close and things along those lines. But I think that the number of people that go to a local track who are awaiting an accident or a crash or something, horrific.
Right.
I think those numbers are a lot less than a lot of what people think.
Yes.
I mean, NASCAR, maybe you do that just to make sure that the event's still going on because you want to be reminded that you have a pulse, but that's a little different.
One other thing I want to say before we kind of change this up and move on to the next thing. We're going to get Kevin Ward on the line here. We're running a couple minutes behind, but I do want to send out my condolences to Bill. I can never say his last name. Bill A. He's the guy that owned the Winter Circle.
Yep.
Where we all used to go on Saturday nights after Fonda Speedway, and he also passed away actually on Saturday night. From complications from a short illness. So I mean, it's been a tough week for the people in racing, especially around here. I also heard today that Blaze Regina passed away. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he raced sprint cars as well. He's raced, I've seen him at Fonda and some other places. So it's been one of those weeks in racing, man. It's just not been a good, not been a good week for him.
Been a tough year.
No.
Yeah, so I mean, again, our thoughts, we send our condolences to all those folks, and it's just sad, so.
Well, we should be having Kevin Ward here on momentarily.
Balmas will get him on the phone. Talk about a little bit about why we're having Kevin Ward on. Kevin, a feature winner now 2 times in the last 3 races with the Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints. Got upside down at Utica Rome actually on Memorial Day weekend, and since then he's been running well, running very, very well. I can give you some stats here because I got my Empire Super Sprint finishes open.
Man, you got to call that race. That must have been something.
It was pretty good. It was fun. It was fun. He's got so he had a win, a third, and a win in his last 3 races. So not a bad little run for Kevin Ward Jr. As you know, Doug Emery finished in second, and third went to Matt Tanner. Corey Sparks and Jeff Cook completed the top 5 up there in the assault on the asphalt.
They were on the front row too when they started, right?
Well, let's see. Cook and Sparks. No, Cook started 4th. Sparks started 2nd. Sparks and Cook had contact on lap 1. I'm not going to say whose fault it was. I don't know. But needless to say, they both went around. And then they both went to the rear, raced their way back up through. Jeff Cook actually did it twice.
Yep.
Because he got into the back of Paul Piconin. And he said, I talked to him. He goes, I was in a hurry. He goes, I saw the leaders, and I'm like, I got to go. And he wasn't patient. And on asphalt, our guys don't run asphalt. So you don't, he did it way back in the past, but he was not, did not want to be patient. Did not want to be patient. So
he had a fast car. He wanted to get to the front when he had the opportunity.
He definitely had a fast car. So good to go, Chris. All right, joining us on the line here, and we want to welcome to the 31st lap driver of the number 13, Kevin Ward Jr. Kevin, how we doing tonight, man?
Good. How you doing?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. No complaints. No complaints here in the studio. First off, congratulations on the win up there at Evans Mills Speedway, and what's it mean now? You have something in the history of ESS that nobody else can say. You have a win on asphalt with the club.
Yeah, that was definitely cool. Like I said, first time being there with ESS and everything, even on asphalt, and I've never drove on asphalt before, so it was definitely a first-time new thing, and it was pretty fun. It was a lot of fun.
You're running second there to Doug Emery. Doug's kind of got out there on you because you had a little work to do to get up to him, and you did something that most of us are like, no way it could happen. You actually went around Doug on the outside. What goes through your mind when you got to get out of that comfortable groove on the bottom and actually make a move and go to the high side?
Yeah, that's tricky on asphalt. Usually there's not that high line or like a cushion with asphalt like there would be with dirt. So it's definitely a lot slippery on that outside lane. And I don't know, I knew that I wasn't going to pass him on the bottom, so I had to try the top. And I don't know, I tried it a few laps before I made the pass, and it seemed to work. And when I came to make the pass, it worked just like how we planned it. So,
I talked to a few of the guys and a lot of them said it wasn't that much different than the dirt. Like you couldn't overthink it and do too much to the car. Is that true, or was it a big change for you to switch the car over and everything else?
No, actually, I actually sort of thought it was going to be a lot more of a big change, but it wasn't. And that's very true. Like, really, the setup wasn't too much different than the dirt setup, and other than just the tires and stuff, it really wasn't much different. I thought the blacktop was going to have a lot more bite, but honestly, I think like a good watered-down, tacky dirt track has a lot more bite than that asphalt did still. So, yeah, it's sort of amazing.
How many changes did you make on the car? You know, because something with asphalt racing, anybody that goes to asphalt racing knows that you get hot laps and then more hot laps, then another set of hot laps. How many changes do you make on the car from that first set of hot laps to before you started the A main?
I was pretty fortunate. Whatever I did with the car during the week seemed to work real good, and I mean, my car was good pretty much right from the start. I changed one really little thing with shocks, and that was it the whole entire night, and that was just after the first round of hot laps, just to loosen the car up a little bit, but that was about it.
Again, chatting with Kevin Ward Jr. here on the 31st lap. Also got a win out at Autodrome Granby. You did something that not a lot of people do there either. You passed Steve Poirier en route to that victory.
Yeah, that was cool. Of course, Steve's own home grounds there. I never really had too good a luck at Granby. Granby was where I totaled our brand new car the year before, so I definitely never did real good there, and it was really good to get a win. Like I said, it wasn't really my kind of track, and I was amazed that I got that win that night, but that happened, and that was definitely great.
What is it the last couple of races? I mean, you guys got a win, 2 wins, and a third-place finish. You rolled the car at Utica, and I know that was a car you told me that you actually came back and won with at Granby.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we actually we got fortunate there with that rollover. It was a light one, and pretty much all we damaged on the car was just the wings. And they said we just took our wings off our backup car, and I mean, really didn't have to work too much with the car. Spent a little bit more time on it that week, but I mean, it still worked fine. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with it.
How much is confidence, helping you run as well as you are right now?
That helps a lot too. I definitely think that I didn't let the rollover get me down or anything like it did the year before, and I just kept my head up and said that we're still good. I still got a fast car, and I could still win the race, and that seemed to be what happened.
Looking at the point standings, you're there at the near the top. It's early on, but looking at the schedule coming up, we've got some serious racing going on now. We've got Lebanon Valley, then we've got Merrittville, Humberstone, and then of course ESS Speed Week. What goes through your mind with all this racing that you've got coming up? Is it something you guys are really looking forward to, or is it something you're nervous about, or is it something you're just going to see what happens and go from there?
It's definitely something we're excited about. It's definitely going to be a action-packed weekend there. There should be a lot of good racing, and it's a lot of good tracks that we're going to. So we're definitely looking forward to it. But there's definitely some nervous there too. I mean, that's a lot of racing, and just the fact that you may be getting tired and sort of wanting to give up. That's the only thing you might want to worry about. But I'm sure that will never come across my mind. And we're going to have fun the whole time. I mean, we got 2 cars. If anything happens, we should have spare parts and stuff. So I'm not too worried about that. But just staying on our game throughout the races. That's the biggest thing.
Are you bringing both cars down with you, or do you plan on commuting back and forth?
We'll probably run each car on and off. Depends which track we're at. We're trying to run both cars, but we're going to be running the new car a little more often.
You've got the new car, the old car. Do you have a preference with them yet? Have you gotten comfortable in one chassis more than another chassis, or is it just you can run whatever one and feel good in both cars?
Yeah, we try to stick to one car because you switch back and forth to each car like week after week. You might screw yourself up because they're 2 different kinds of chassis, and they react different to whatever you do with them. So that's why we're trying to stick mainly to one car. But I don't know. I do know. I'm starting to learn which kind of tracks are the Eagle, the new car, does better at, and which tracks it doesn't do better at. So I'm sort of learning that, so I know which tracks to take the maximum to, and that's a big benefit to keeping it like that. But like I said, we try to keep the one car as much as we can.
Kevin, we always want to give everybody a chance to shout out to their sponsors while they're on the show. And if you got a website, if you got Facebook, if you got Twitter, take this chance. Go ahead, mention those folks. Mention where people can get in touch with you or where they can find out about what's going on with Kevin Ward.
Yeah, I have a website. It's kevinwardjr.com. You can visit that anytime. That always is updated with our schedule that we're going to be running and everything. So you can always stop on there. I have a Facebook page, and there's a WPC racing team for both 13 and 7C. And then, of course, I just got to thank my dad. He's pretty much the one who allows me to do all this and get these wins. And he's the man who does it all. I couldn't thank him enough. So I got to thank him and his business, Westford Painting Company, and Tagwood Construction. They're a great help to us. They help us out all throughout the year. So big thanks to Tagwood Construction and CarQuest Auto Parts, Sherwin-Williams Paints, Cash for Cans. I think that's about it.
Well, hey, bud, we look forward to seeing you this weekend, and wish you the best of luck as the season continues.
All right, thank you.
Have a great night. So that was Kevin Ward Jr. picked up the win on Saturday up at Evans Mills, the first ever assault on the asphalt. I got to tell you, it was a cool event. Jay, you went. What'd you think?
I was impressed. I'm not a huge asphalt guy, but seeing the 360s on the asphalt was something, man. Those guys really raced their butts off. It was amazing to watch. Like the question you asked him about, hey, what changes did you make? Walking the pits and seeing some of the major changes. Cook did a total gear change, after one of the hot lap sessions to see what he had. To see some of the changes those guys were making, Corey Sparks made a couple of shock adjustments, changed a wicker bill out. They were chasing after it, and it was awesome to see the mental part of the game, the more cerebral part of the game come into to that event, and it was awesome.
90% of the game's half mental.
Yeah. All right, Yogi Berra.
Well said.
I will say this: I did have a chance to talk to Dean Reynolds, and it looks like this show has already been booked for next year, so it will be back. It was the crowd.
Oh yeah,
even weather. The crowd was huge on Saturday.
How many times do we have to wait for the sprinkles to stop? And they kept cars on the track
to
keep it dry. Sprinkles.
I thought you said the sprinkles.
The Sprakers.
Sprinkles.
Jake Spraker. We didn't wait for him to stop. But the crowd never moved. The crowd never wavered. Even when the lights went out before feature time.
Yeah.
The crowd never moved an inch, and they were having a ball with it.
Yeah, that was fun.
And that place was packed, man.
Yeah, it was packed. It was awesome.
They had a power outage?
Yeah.
They sure did.
Yeah, the generator. You heard it click. It was like, gung, 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 gung. And all of a sudden, it was like a cool sound to it too. Like when the power went out, you heard everything just, like it was pretty neat.
That's nice.
So yeah, so we will be back at it next year. 2014's been booked.
I'll be there.
Can't wait for it.
I'll be
excited. Hopefully we get more guys to try. I think, initially from the guys I talked to, they're a little nervous about how difficult it was going to be. Like, what do I have to do?
Is Dino with us right now?
Dino's here. Yeah, he's here.
Freaking wingless show, Dino. What are you waiting for?
Not happening. I'll say that right now.
Didn't they try that last year?
Yeah, not happening.
No, not here. They didn't.
We did in Quebec. You had your chance.
Not here. You didn't. You did it in freaking Canada.
Well, you didn't go. It's not my fault.
In freaking Canada?
Nobody went.
I've never heard of that city.
There was a lot of people there. You just weren't one of them. So
Autodrome friggin'.
Yeah, as Dino would say, we've tried it. We've been there, done that.
You didn't try it here.
We're not gonna. So
and there you have it.
There you have it. So GT says,
that's all right. I'm still gonna keep bugging him. I don't care.
What's up, brother?
So Saturday, 5 Mile Point, pack the track night, $2 admission. Hey, not bad. Yeah, there you go, Shawnee, just for you, buddy. We'll send out shout-outs. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, we're fine with it.
Shout out to all your homies.
Yep.
Anybody else want to get a shout-out in?
I'm good. I'll get my plugs in I'll stick my plugs in there without making obvious that I'm sticking my plugs in there. This week on Dirt Track Digest, there was a lot of talk in the chat.
Not about this week's 31st lap, though,
no,
is there?
No,
nope.
I finally put it up. You know why? Because it's my fault. Because I came home today from work literally and went right to sleep.
You've been doing it every week, so I just
exhausted
leave it alone because I know you've been doing it. And
I'm happy school's almost done.
I wasn't exactly
I'm not complaining
sure
about
who I
school.
was going to be on either.
I'm just happy that school is just about done.
Oh, yeah.
Because I cannot wait for school to be over because then it kicks off Mike Mallett's Summer of Fun. You ever seen the
Summer of Fun Tour 2013?
Yeah, the Summer of George on Seinfeld.
Oh
It's
yeah,
gonna be the Summer of Mallet. That's what it's gonna be. I've got like 20 races in 23 days or something crazy like that planned.
Good for you.
Ohio Speed Week, here we come.
I'm pumped up about this.
What are you going to call that? The smell tour?
Oh,
yeah.
Could be all kinds of smells.
We are
going
to be in the same car together for at least a week, so it is not going to be fun.
Only 5 days.
Yeah,
I'll
close
push
enough.
it.
So, all right, go get Doug Emery on the phone.
The smell tour brought to you by Vaseline.
The smell tour.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Oh, come on, man.
Ken doesn't like the dirt modifieds on the asphalt. I didn't mind it, actually.
Oh.
That was all right.
What?
You know what's neat? You could tell those guys were pushing it in the heat races trying to pass cars.
Yeah.
Because they're all sliding around, and they're smoking the rear tires, and they're doing all that. If you didn't check out, while we're plugging things, if you didn't check out my column on Dirt Track Digest, I did have a chance. I chatted with Jordan McCready, for those that are fans of Bob McCready, want to see what his youngest son's doing up there. I got to tell you, talking to him, he sounds just like his brother, right?
It's eerie, man. It was so weird talking to him. I was like, Jeepers Creepers. He's
Yeah,
channeling Timmy here?
they're both good interviews. You know what I mean? They both talk, so they definitely sound a lot alike.
He's genuinely a super great kid.
Yeah,
and that's awesome.
And you got the story as to how he got the number 9. Go ahead and tell that quick.
It's a lot of times we wish that they were a lot more of a story than they are, but it was kind of cool. He kind of left things in the hands of the folks over at Pilot.
Yep.
And said, "Geez, I've got a lot of sponsors to fit onto this thing. I've been kind of thinking about maybe going to number 9." He says, "You guys do whatever you got to do." So sure enough, it come back and it had a big old number 9 on the side
That's
of
cool.
it. It is kind of cool. It's kind of old school.
Yeah.
The way that came together. Let's just see what happens, and came back and it turned out sharp. It's a very nostalgic look.
Yeah, and I asked him, I said, "You got any pressure? You switched over and you're running this. Any pressure?" He goes, "Man, I'm a McCready. There's always pressure.
Yep.
He knows the legacy that he is following, between, Bob and how amazing, the amazing career that Bob had. And now everybody knows his brother. I mean, T-Mac is, well known everywhere. I mean, a World of Outlaws champion, Chili Bowl winner. I mean, so he's at, the next generation of there. And it's obviously you
was
can
that
see.
a Chili Bowl mention?
Yeah, there it was.
He's an interesting and intelligent kid too, so it's not lost on him.
No.
The fact that family name is there, that pressure's there, but he's also doing things the right way.
Yes. Yep. So we're joining us on the line now was the second place finisher up at the Evans Mills Speedway, driver the number 33, Doug Emery. Doug, how are we doing tonight, man?
Very good. Thanks, Mike, for having me on.
Oh, I'm glad you're on. I know you're a faithful listener to the show, so I'm glad we could finally have you on and talk a little bit about your experience on the pavement. Now, you were a guy that went up and tested early on to kind of get an idea of what the track was going to be like. And what did you think of the whole pavement experience? Did you have a good time with it? Was it fun? Was it difficult? What was it?
No, I think it was a very good experience. It's something I tried a couple years ago in Oswego that we thought we might have a show there, and that was a pretty fast track to have one of these on. But and I thought for sure it was doable. And then we found a break in the schedule and went up there. I had some tires and went up there. And then once I was on the track and did some laps, it was. I said, "This is very doable." It was fun. There was nothing ill handling about the car or anything. And I enjoyed myself, and I think everybody who ended up going up there enjoyed themselves too.
Have you had a chance to talk to some of the guys that didn't go and tell them about the experience?
Not really, not totally. Some guys I caught wind of some thinking, that they'd try to extra if they did it, and that things went real well. Nobody got any accidents, and what little skirmish there was, everyone was able to push off and keep going again.
Mm-hmm.
With the show on Saturday night, did you think the bottom was going to be the place you had to stay? I know you got kind of bottled up there in traffic a little bit, and that's what ultimately gave Kevin the chance to get you.
Earlier in the night, I didn't think so. I thought maybe that you would have to go around the outside of people, but as the night progressed there, everybody was kind of pushing, so I thought, man, the best way to stay out of trouble and to get by cars was to anticipate that the car pushing up the track and going underneath them. So as night one, that's what I geared for. Earlier in the night, I thought the way to do is go around the outside like Kevin did, and I was doing pretty good picking off cars until I just caught one at the wrong time, and he happened to be just capitalizing on that split second.
You've had some tough luck this year. You had a couple of DNQs. How nice was it to make the show and run as well as you did and run right there with the fastest cars?
Oh, I felt very good. I was kind of a little dejected after 2 DNQs earlier in the year. I knew I had a car that, that's capable of running in the top 5 with all these guys. And, just for myself, just to go out there and be able to compete with, those youngsters and stuff, it felt really good, and maybe that confidence will roll over for the July 4th week.
Yeah, are you looking forward to Speed Week? I know a lot of guys are real excited about the fact that you get to run that many races and that close to home in such a short period.
Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. When I first started running, we ran a lot of local shows, and now to have this many local shows within a week, it's great for, sprint cars, period. And I think we'll put on a good show. I think there'll be a lot of people traveling, and I'm certainly got to gear myself up for, that marathon, but I'm looking forward to it, see how far we can go. We'll at least do 4 of the 5, and then go from there.
A couple of questions that are coming in here on the chat room are talking about tires. you guys ran the slick tires. Tell us how you got your tires. I know there was a chance to get some more. I mean, I know ESS had a few. Running the pavement tires wasn't an adjustment. Was it difficult, or when you put everything together, was it almost like setting up your dirt car?
Yeah, well, I tried to make it as easy as possible. I mean, I took everything that we run on dirt and left it in the car other than the bars and tires. I mean, the hardest part was just mountain tires, and that's not too bad because we got beadlocks. But just torsion bars and gears all really did, and that's what the whole thing was supposed to be set up for. And when we did the Swiggle thing a couple of years ago, I had tires from there. So I just kept those over the years and tried them there last month. And I was amazed that they came back and at least were manageable. I mean, we're used to having a car sideways as it was. And, the few times it got broke loose a little bit, it was controllable, a lot controllable than if you were on slick tracks or Utica or something. But talking to some of the Swiggle guys, they had used tires laying around that were a couple weeks old, and we scooped up a bunch of them and gave them to the guys who decided last minute to come up. And they might have been for Swiggle, not necessarily for the small track, but they made them work.
Yeah, how nice was that? I mean, to be able to get tires for next to nothing and put them on the car. I mean, it had to make the whole experience a lot easier. I mean, you guys are used to paying. I mean, sprint car tires, we all know, are not a cheap endeavor.
No, they're not. But if you said maybe 10 years ago this was even possible, no. But even our sprint car tires now are the same price as asphalt tires. Where years ago they were a lot cheaper, and to do a asphalt thing, this would have been cost a lot of money. But I mean, if we can keep if there's something down the road, if we can keep it where you can run a night's race on a right rear and go on asphalt, I mean, why not?
What was it? Brain fart here. Hold on.
Lost your train
I'm
of
having
thought,
one of
huh?
those nights. Yeah, I was going to ask him. Something.
Matter of fact, I got the tires sitting out here near the road. See if somebody can scoop them up because they're so neat looking.
You're hoping, huh? You're hoping.
Yeah, I hope one guy did, but then he left them, and now they're still sitting around.
You should go get them, Mike, and turn them into a coffee table.
You know how many times I heard that the other night at the racetrack? You should go get them and turn them into a coffee table.
I'm surprised you didn't get a
tables.
set.
A
No,
lot.
I do not need tires. I collect wings. Okay, that is it for me, guys. I collect wings. Okay, so no tires, none of that. All right, Doug, what's the plans here for you for the season in terms of? I know you're banking on Speed Week. How many times are we going to see you in the car? And are we going to see Stuart Friesen in the car? Because I know you put him in the car a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I plan on. I'll probably after Speed Weeks, some of my driving. I might not do much. I would plan on putting Stewie in the car for July 4th race. And try to gear up for the big Coal Cup race, and then and probably a Fonda and Albany Saratoga will put them in, and then from there. Like this weekend, I got a friend of mine, Jason Harrington's going to run at the Valley in the car. He just won the 358 race last week. So we got some other things. I got some guys who need some help that are called me, and still kind of helping out Mike Grant a little bit too. So yeah, I got a lot of little things that keep me busy. That even if I wasn't driving, I'd do something.
Well, so what's more fun for you, being the car owner or being the driver?
Well, being a car owner is kind of nerve-wracking, but I've had good guys in the car. I've had Sean, and Jess at one time, and as long as you got guys, and then Stewie too. I mean, they're all good drivers. I mean, it's fun to have guys and girls like that can wheel a car, go forward, and keep it all in one piece. Not being a big buck team, but a competitive team. It's good to have. And it's enjoyable, actually, to watch people drive their own car. I mean, I'm doing it so long that, and then as getting in the car this year, the spark sometimes isn't there. I thought I'd never say that, but after so many years of racing, it's sort of, it's enjoyable at times to watch a car go around. Yeah.
Well, Doug, if you got any sponsors, want to give you a chance to send a shout-out to them. I don't know if you're on Twitter or I know you're on Facebook, but, are you on Twitter? If you've got a website, anything like that you want to plug, here's your chance. We want to make sure we help you out, too, for coming on.
Yeah, I got the M&W Loom products, one of my biggest supporters. And then this year, winter down from Motorworks put a motor together with Sean and stuff, and it's pretty stout, and it's showing that right now. And our girlfriend Barb, she's always there by his side, helping us out and getting his car out there. So, and a lot of people here and there, they always come to help me out.
All right, Doug, we'll let you go, man. Thanks for being on the 31st lap. Also, tell Barb I said hello, and we look forward to seeing you here this weekend.
Okay, we'll see you later. Might see you at the big high banks.
Oh, yeah, can't wait. Can't wait.
See you guys.
See you, Doug.
See ya.
Yep.
So, Doug Emery, second place finisher again up at the Evans Mills Speedway on the asphalt, and I was there at that Oswego test. That was neat too. We were trying to work a deal. That was the first time we had tentatively scheduled it, and it was nice to see it come to fruition and us have the chance to go up there and do it. I mean, because it's always something neat. And it was a new track for us. Me and Jay had never been there, so that was I'd never been on dirt, any of that, so I didn't know.
Never been where now?
Evans Mills. Was
Yeah,
my first time
I went there
yeah.
once for that Super Dirt Series race that they did.
The Baja 100. First race in April on a track that you just put clay down was a 100-lap Super Dirt Series.
The plowed field there.
Oh, I remember watching that.
That was Cabrera's first race there.
Yeah, I remember watching that on was it Dirt Vision?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're like, holy crap!
Yeah,
it was something. I can.
There's only like 12 cars finished at Razors.
Yeah, it was not very good.
Yeah.
It was awful.
And poor Charlie. We're sitting home. So, worst day ever.
Yeah.
Let's save this topic, rough racetracks, for a little bit later on. I want to have a discussion about that because that was one of the hot button issues on Facebook this weekend and Dirt Track Digest.
Should we start naming that the hot button or something?
Hot button issues, yeah.
Hot button,
yeah. Okay,
I'm not even going to go there.
I was letting you take that and run.
That's so wrong.
So yeah, we can go hot button. I don't
John
know.
hasn't found it yet.
I gotta admit, when you say hot button, I'm not thinking about racing.
You're never thinking about. Wait, there are only two things you think
Three
about.
things:
midgets,
racing, racing, Miller
Eating.
Lite.
Number one, eating,
and
midgets.
having sexual intercourse.
Oh,
I'll use the proper terminology for it.
Curveball. I was definitely expecting you to say midgets.
Hey, what is wrong with those three things? Come on, they're all awesome.
Do you put number 3?
And he did rank. You notice how he ranked it first: racing, Miller Lite, and then
there's no special order.
I say his priorities right in order.
There's no special order, and I've told you this before. When all three happen all on the same day, that is the best day ever.
That is I can't disagree with that. I wish I could disagree with him.
So
damn right.
Let me make sure I got the order, the rank and file correct. It was.
There is no rank and file.
No, you just said that there
he
was.
ranked
Number,
them. He ranked
number
I just
one
listed them. I didn't give you an order.
Well, you kind of defaulted to what the priorities was. Number one was right.
Yeah, but most of us say racing. I mean, sadly. Yeah,
number one.
One thing that doesn't disappoint.
I'm not any good at the other two.
So number one was.
So you're a 2 beer kind of guy, huh?
Absolutely. Oh my God, it's awful.
We got to get you out. Actually, I've seen you out.
You've
It's
seen me in
entertaining.
action.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
entertaining.
I usually dance with something.
You're using that term right. Something.
I don't care what it looks like. It's there's a certain point where it's just, you know what? It's got long hair.
Let's
I
have
don't care
some
what
fun.
his name is.
Ouch.
He's going home.
He's not kidding.
I'm not going out with you guys.
You know that TV show Sasquatch?
Yeah.
Apparently they film at that Station 58 joint because I pulled her out of there that one night.
Good grief.
Okay, back to racing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, we got the Clash of the Can winner on
Yes, we
on
do.
deck here coming
Yes,
up
we
in
do.
just a few minutes. That was something.
You're not going to know it from his screen tag.
So that was you, there, John. That means go get it.
I am going.
I'm looking forward to that.
All right, let's get you full results from Pen Can here as I log on to the Dirt Track Digest forum. And already we have cancellations for tomorrow. That sucks.
Damn.
Yeah, we have Brewerton. So we've got Brewerton down for tomorrow, sadly. Yep, it's just too wet, so sucks.
It's going to ruin a lot of people's Friday night, man. That place is the hangout on Friday
I know,
nights.
and it stinks. I-88, though, made a post on their Facebook. They're still racing. What do you think there? I know you're on the fence right now.
God bless them. I mean, if I can make it happen tomorrow night, man, I'm going.
All right.
I got to see that place. You guys tell me.
It's a neat
some
little
awfully
place.
cool
It's a neat
stories
little
about
place. All right, so here's the Clash of the Can. $5,000 went to Ryan Watt, and again 67 modifieds in attendance. So 67. It was Ryan Watt past Mike Goulart, Tim McCready, Dale Plank, Dwayne Howard. That's your top 5. Jimmy Phelps went swimming in the pond in the infield. Came back and finished in 6th. Brett Tompkins 7th. Kevin Hartnett was 8th. Joey Colston 9th. Stuart Friesen was 10th. I heard Stewie had something going wrong with the rear end. He had something with a Panhard bar.
Oh.
Ryan Godown was 11th and Bobby Varon 12th. And I only go back to Varon because Varon was the Racer Champions point leader coming in that event. I'm not sure where he's at, after that. But I know it's him and Stuart Friesen were the top 2. So
Yeah, Varon had to come through the LCQ race.
yeah, I heard he figured out a loophole in it where he could take the money after winning that for $650. Then he was going to use an ROC provisional to get into the show, and then he would have been guaranteed to get both. In which Brett Deo said, "Hey, you came up with it. You know what? You're smart enough to figure it out. We're gonna. I'll pay you anyway." So, so he got both. So good for Bobby Varon. But joining us now here on the line, the guy that had probably the best night out of everybody because he picked up the feature victory. It is Ryan Watt, and Ryan, thank you for taking the time out, and we want to welcome you here to the 31st lap.
Thanks for having me on.
Well, what's it mean? I mean, you look at, feature wins. You've won at Bridgeport, this year. But what does it mean to go to the Clash of the Can and beat 66 other cars, including the best in the business in the modified world?
It's huge. I mean, you never, going there with that. You're going there to that race. You're just hoping for a good draw. First off, to be able to get in, get a good starting spot for the show, which we were able to do, starting third in the heat. But, just last year we ran there, same deal, had good car counts, and we had a 4th in the first race and an 8th in the King of the Can. So we ran pretty well there. But, to be able to pull off a win in one of those ROC races with that caliber of cars and drivers was huge.
And I know you passed a lot of those drivers on the way to the front. You passed a guy like Tim McCready. You had to pass Mike Goulart to the lead. How much more satisfying is it when you pass guys like that and go on and win?
That's, that in the future, starting right behind McCready there, and when I did get by him, that's when I really knew how good our car was, because Penn Can, it's definitely a tough place. You could try your hardest to pass somebody and run side by side for lap after lap. They put on some great races at that track but it's very seldom you see cars go that far forward, go forward a lot in the feature. Because such a battle, and to be able to pass Timmy on the outside there and then start picking cars off was, I was impressed myself on it, actually. Just to be able to do that.
How tough is the adjustment? We know you run Bridgeport, a big, fast 5.8s. We've been talking about it tonight, not for, obviously some, sad reasons, but how difficult is it for you to change from, the big 5.8s to go into that little tight, I'd say a third-mile racetrack at Penn Can?
Well, I'm kind of used to jumping around. I started out racing at Susquehanna and the Sportsman, and then Susquehanna closed down on us, and I ended up going to Bridgeport and East Windsor, and I used to make some trips up north and went to Albany, Saratoga. We did jump around and do a lot of racing like that. Ended up falling back at Grandview for a little while, ran Grandview, which is a third of a mile. Raced at Big Diamond for a couple years, so I've jumped around quite a bit racing, but, racing Bridgeport every week and then not going anywhere different for a little while, it definitely takes a little bit of adjustment because, how much for Penn Can you have to slow up to get into corners and braking a lot different, and it just takes a little while. But like I said, we do quite a bit of jumping around as it is. I love hitting the ROC races that I can hit and to race with these guys.
Yeah, I know we've had the chance to see you at a few different places here the last couple of years. I know you even made a trek up to Utica Rome for one of our big events. As a driver, how much fun is that to get to go to different places and try different surfaces, and and what's it like when you go to these places that you've never been to before?
Oh, it's definitely a blast to go. 2 years ago, I guess it was, when we ran most of the ROC races. I think we hit every one we could hit, and we went to Utica Rome. I really struggled there. We learned a lot in the past 2-3 years with our big blocks, and I'd love to go back up there again and give it a try. I think we ended up 4 or 5 laps down in that feature, just not used to the track surface, not used to, taking the big block back. We were set up for Bridgeport where it was pretty much hammered down all year back then. But it's definitely fun, going to those tracks, and it's definitely a different deal going up north there where the tracks are a lot drier and slipperier too.
How has Bridgeport been this season? There's been a lot of talk about Bridgeport, and people look at the tire issues that they've had at a couple of the big races and so on and so forth. But how is Bridgeport? And I know there's some quality cars there at Bridgeport. With New Egypt changing their rules and so on and so forth, so you had an influx of a couple of guys switching over, which made an already talent-laden field at Bridgeport even more difficult.
Yeah, Bridgeport this year is definitely tough. Most nights we've been getting close to 30 to 32 big blocks down there. This past week was a little short on that with the weather and a couple guys having issues the week before. But the track's been different. The beginning of the year started out, it was dry, then it got then we had some rain and stuff the night before, so the track was good, like heavy the next week, and then they started getting some equipment in now to prep the track, and you don't quite know what you have because they're still learning as it is too, but they're definitely trying down there. The 2 nights where we had bad tire wear were the poker races that we had, and that deal there, they never expected the amount of cars we had in both divisions, the modified and the sportsman. It was just way too much racing on the track for one night, and not even allowing time to go out and do any track prep.
Yeah, what makes Bridgeport, your place to race? So, why do you go to Bridgeport? Some guys, it seems like either guys love Bridgeport and what Bridgeport offers, or they just are not a fan of it at all. It seems like you go there, you've been a loyal guy that's gone there for a while. What makes Bridgeport your home track, and why?
Well, I actually live not even 10 minutes from Grandview, and I used to race there for quite a while, and you just get stuck running the same track all the time. It doesn't make you any better when you go to these other tracks, and we ended up switching one year to go to Bridgeport when I drove for Chad Sinan. We went down there, and we were doing real good, and at the end of the season, we actually hurt a motor and didn't have another one to put in, and I actually got hooked up with Ronnie Roberts from Delaware, which was from Wilmington. He runs Bridgeport every week. He's been a loyal Bridgeport supporter for years. And we got hooked up with Ronnie, and ever since then, that's where he races. My car owner races, and we've been hooked up with him since then, I guess since 2009.
When you talk a little bit about all the stuff that goes on over there at Bridgeport, and you alluded a little bit earlier when it was hammered down, tell us a little bit about what the budget was to race there, because it was so big, and you had the big motor and you're turning such high RPMs, and what it takes in terms of tire budget and how that tire wear at Bridgeport compares to what you experienced last night, because you never really faded at all.
Yeah, to be honest with you, a lot of people complain about or have motor issues and stuff, and we ran Bridgeport 3 years ago when the big blocks were there, and we have a Kevin Enders motor, and we actually ran the motor the whole season, and right with 2 weeks to go, we broke a piston. But motor-wise, we didn't have any issues at the track, even with the surface being that way, and then being hammered down. And then last year when Doug Hoffman had the track, it was slipperier, and we ran pretty much the same motor the whole year there again, and we're actually still running it right now. It's got about 900 laps on that big block motor, and the way the track's been, we've been pretty good. So it's not terrible there to cost-wise to go to Bridgeport for us for motors, but when it comes to tires, the problem is when the track's as fast as it can be at nights, you actually blister a tire. The tire, just American Racer, doesn't seem to hold up some nights. And then when the track gets dead slippery and starts taking rubber, then we wear out a whole set in a night. So that's the biggest cost is tires, is just keeping that under the car.
How about at Penn Can last night? It didn't seem like you had any fade at all as you were going through the back half of the feature.
At Penn Can, that place has always been known for real good tire wear. Actually, the tires I had on in the heat race and warm-ups, those tires, we've had them for about 3 years. We ran both features last year on the same back tires. They just, tire wear, it doesn't seem to be an issue there, which is great. You can go there and race for weeks on tires and get used tires from guys. If the place wasn't 2.5 hours, 3 hours from me, it wouldn't be a bad place to race on a Friday.
The big show coming up here this week. You have the show at New Egypt for the big blocks. You plan on going and supporting another Brett Deo show? Had some pretty good luck here in the last one.
Yeah, we actually are. We got some. The only problem for me was the Hoosier tires. I had gotten 2 years ago. I got rid of all the Hoosier tires we had because we haven't had a dirt race around us. We haven't traveled around, and the tires were just sitting in my shop dry rotting away. So I really didn't have any tires to go, and I hooked up with Matt Shepard and got some used tires from him to go down there for that race. So yeah, we're geared up to go to support that big block race in New Egypt.
You mentioned getting you used tires from Matt Shepard. That is that what makes it possible for a team to go? Is if you have the chance to not go out and spend all the money getting all brand new tires.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty decent purse for the race, but to go out and buy, you get $600 wrapped up in a set of tires, just to go to the race, for a set, not even having spares, not having, to get the right stagger you need. So that makes it tough to have a dirt sanctioned race down our way for guys that don't have the tires. But, if you can hook up with somebody and, we got a good deal on some used tires and, for half that price or even less than that, we're geared up and ready to go.
Where does the win at PennCan last night rank on your career accomplishments?
Oh, that's definitely, the biggest win for me. Accomplishment-wise, I finished, second at Granby for the Freedom 76er one year, which was a big deal. And then one year we went up to Syracuse and actually in the 358 race finished sixth. That was pretty big for me as well. But, to win a race, like you said, an ROC race with 67 other cars with that caliber, drivers and stuff is huge. I grew up watching, the dirt sanction races. They would come around this way and going to Grandview and, going up to Syracuse and going to Rolling Wheels and watching races and stuff like that. And that was just something you kind of dreamed about doing, being able to beat these guys in one of these series races.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I think that's the one reason why everybody likes Deo shows, because you never know.
It's a great equalizer, especially those shows at PennCan.
Yeah, the track is, it's not a place where, everybody runs, weekly. They got a solid field of cars, but it brings the best of the best together, but anybody can win that.
All the Brett shows have proven that anybody can win them. There's no clear-cut favorites. Like, typically with other races, there's 4 or 5 guys, what's going to happen. You got a pretty good idea what's going to happen, but his shows, you just never know. We've seen guys who don't normally go into the show expecting to win those shows.
Yeah, and Ryan, it was pretty...
And I'll say, after being there last night, Ryan was clearly the best car. The best car last night won the race. He was the best car last night.
And how'd you get that set up? Because I'm sure there's guys that want it now after watching you.
Yeah, right out of the box and warm-ups, one thing with PennCan when I would go there in the past, and you could just, it's one of those tracks where you're always searching for more drive and side-biting a car. It just seems like it's real slippery. And right out of the box in warm-ups, I could just feel the car felt real good. And sometimes that's not a good feeling, but it just seemed last night it just went the whole night that way.
Yeah, he dominated his heat race. And, you can't, once the heat races are done, heat races and then the feature is always a different story. So you can't always go by with who wins the heat races and how they look at that point. What are they going to do in the feature? And he was just as dominant in the feature. Once he got the lead, there was a point where he had almost a straightaway lead. He was gone. So I was impressed. It was a very good show.
Well, Ryan,
it was great to see somebody different that we don't normally see win too. Yeah. And that was why I go to those shows.
Yep. Well, Ryan, we always like to give everybody a chance to send out a shout out to their sponsors. Also, if you've got a website, Facebook, Twitter, any of those things, this is your chance to plug those. And again, it's our way of saying thank you for coming on.
Yeah, I got to definitely thank my wife and my son and family for all their support and everything. To thank Ronnie Roberts and Faye Marion, they're two that own my race cars and stuff, and keep me going every week and allow me to come up there and race with you guys. It's definitely a blast. I got to thank all my crew for all their hard work and sticking with me. It's been great. We got 2 wins at Bridgeport this year, and the 1 win at PennCan now, which is just pretty much a dream season so far for me. So hopefully we can keep it going.
Well, Ryan, thanks, man, for coming on. Best of luck to you, and we can't wait to see you around the tracks.
All right, thanks for having me.
Great job, man.
Yep. So again, Ryan Watt winner last night down at the PennCan Speedway in the Clash of the Can.
Yep, it was a good show.
Yeah, I'm disappointed I missed it.
I'm disappointed you didn't ask Ryan if he races for wins or championships.
Shut up.
The electric company.
Yeah, the electric company.
Well, he's got some experience of running little bull rings too.
Yeah,
like he said, he didn't even mention, he's won several times in the little track at Bridgeport.
Yeah, that's awesome
because they did that for a couple of years, and he won a lot of those.
As shocked as the crowd might have been last night when he pulled into Victory Lane, I don't think anybody was more shocked than Ryan Watt.
Right.
I got pictures of the dude getting out of the car, and he's like, "Holy crap!"
I know. I'm sure he was because nobody in the place other than maybe his fans or family or whatever.
Yeah.
Not any negative against him, but you just don't. You think of the guys like the Deckers and the Johnsons and the Friesens.
Yeah, I mean,
the Howards and the Strunks.
He was just as shocked as all those people.
And,
you know what though? That's been the thing with Deo shows. I mean, it's been guys like that have won. I think, wasn't it Justin Holland?
Danny Tyler, Justin Holland, Kevin Herthler. They've all won Deo shows where they were all with loaded fields like that, and you don't expect that.
And it's awesome because I mean that means the money is getting, spread around. The wealth's not going back to the big money teams that know.
Hey, by the way, I don't want to alarm anybody, but Sport of Racing's looking awful good. 2 Wednesday night shows. 2 consecutive weeks in a row. The Hall of Fame 60 last week, Clash of the Can this week. We've had 46 cars last week, 67 last night.
Yep.
Modified racing.
I'm not weird about that though?
Real good.
The weekly stuff isn't doing as well, but it seems like the big money shows now. There's been a lot of support because Utica Rome show we had.
People don't have the money and they got to pick and choose where they're going to go.
Yeah. Yeah, and might as well race for the money.
I'm in the same boat. I don't do a lot of weekly racing anymore because what little bit of spare money I have to go to a race, I'm going to go to. For me, I'm picking a special show. Nothing against weekly stuff. I got to pick and choose.
All right, so let's talk a little bit. We talked a little bit with him about the track at Bridgeport. Let's talk a little bit about tracks in general. One of the hot topics, this weekend, if you watch the video from Fulton, the track obviously was.
I watched it. That track was not rough. It was wet.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm just saying. I'm just bringing it up. So
I don't even know why.
Calm down for a second,
I don't even know why everybody got all bent out of shape.
Well, the tracks are bumpy. We've seen it early in the season. Were you at New Egypt for that opener? Or no, didn't you have...
Not this year.
Okay, so...
Nope, didn't go this year.
Tracks get rough. Here's the problem I think that everybody gets. You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't.
Yep.
If you run a show and the track sucks, everybody complains. If you run if the sun's out and you cancel,
right,
everybody complains. Well, it's sunny out. How come you didn't race?
They stuck with the program and ran it.
Yeah.
And then everybody bitches saying the track was rough, and I watched the video and I didn't see the roughness. I just saw the wetness. It was wet.
Yeah, I don't know if
it was
video
not rough.
From everyone,
I prefer rough and wet.
Oh God, it went there.
I knew somebody. It wasn't me.
I know. I knew it was. I knew that a statement like that was going to be said. I'm not going to say what I was going to say because then we'd go even down that road. But yeah,
nothing like rough, wet midgets, right, John?
Yeah. Oh my God. So
good grief.
It's tough though. Like where do tracks win? In this whole argument, it seems like they're in a no-win situation no matter what they do at this point, because everybody gets so mad. Like Canandaigua canceled early.
Well, the thing that
on Saturday,
Canandaigua had to cancel,
yeah.
and then Tuesday they canceled again because it was just so wet. Like
they tried,
and then everybody gets mad about it. It's like, well, then they go there and they race in the track's rough. Then you're going to complain anyway.
Yes.
So
yep.
Take one or the other. Don't complain. Give some tracks like you can say, hey, they raced. Thank you. Thank you for getting the show
absolutely.
in. That's the way I've always looked at it. Driver,
they're about the only one that raced.
Right. The drivers, they all have a choice. You don't have to race. It's your option to go out there and compete on a rough track if it's rough or not. You know what you're getting into. And Jimmy Horn, I think, had the best statement about all this at the beginning of the year. He goes, I've raced on rough dirt tracks basically the entire career. Like people forget what tracks used to be like. They were always rough.
Yes.
Yep.
He goes, so it's part of the game.
Of dirt track racing.
Right. That's why it's on a dirt track. It's not pavement. Pavement, is always smooth. So
there was a hell of a freaking hole or hump or something going into 3 last night.
Yeah.
At Pencan. You could see the cars hit it with the nose.
Coming
just
out.
as they enter,
before or
after
they went into
at
the
the end
pond.
of the back straightaway, just as you get into 3, you could see the cars hit something over there. I was over in turn 1 in the stand side, so you couldn't
7 heat
tell
races.
what it was, but you could see the car hit it, whatever it was. I know you were probably in the infield, so
yeah.
you had a better look.
7 heat races just for the modifieds, a couple of consies, the last chance qualifier, plus all the sportsman racing.
Right.
Was going
it was 28, 27 sportsmen, right?
34, 34? I think.
I thought it was 20-something. I thought I heard them last night, but I'm not sure.
But it's a pretty
either.
good field considering they get about 12 to 15.
Right. So
crates.
you've got all that racing that's taking place throughout the course of the night. All in all, track was in darn good shape.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
And there's obviously the right decision was made to postpone a day and let the track dry out a little bit. But again, and the weather was much better for Wednesday. Wednesday's I think Monday's the only day we've seen the sun here in 6 weeks.
Yeah, and it's right back to crap again
sucks.
today.
Obviously we
talked
about it
tomorrow too.
Yeah, Bruton already canceled.
wiped out.
They're already, like I said, they're already wiped out.
Well, they've had so much rain.
They can't.
Jesus.
There's no way. And then after the beating they took this week for, that's the thing. Like if people don't support your track, I will always try to defend my home track when they do something, even if in my opinion it might not be the right call. If they're trying and they think they're doing the right thing, I support them, because there's a lot of tracks that don't do that they don't make the effort to run when the weather's crap. You know, like we went to I-88 earlier in the year. It was raining all around it, and they hustled that show. And Modified feature hit the track, and they ended up canceling it because it started raining again. But I give them all the credit in the world.
They tried because nobody else was.
Right.
They
tried.
You could tell that Canandaigua was trying to pack the track for June 11th because that was right about the time where it started raining again.
Yeah. I mean, so it's you got to defend their tracks when they make the decision to go and do something like that. You know, and it really upset me to see. You know, Fulton is close to home, and I go there when I can. You know, because I try. It's nice. It's in my backyard, and to see them take a beating, and it's like, listen, at least they tried. I mean, there's a lot of tracks that canceled early.
This is the thing that ticked me off about the people commenting about the video was most of the people commenting weren't even freaking there.
Yeah, that's the other thing that irritates me.
I watched it. I was not there. I watched the same thing you watched. Who you weren't there, and the track. I'm telling you, the video does not show the track being rough. It shows it being very wet.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's. I don't know.
Does it say anything when people like Matt Shepard and Jimmy Phelps load up?
Well, that's, I mean, again, but let me ask you
this.
this.
That's one of people are using that as some sort of a barometer.
Well, let me ask you this. If that's Canandaigua and Matt Shepard's leading the points, is he loading up?
No way.
And there's holes the size of the Grand Canyon.
Right, I'm not
racing.
Right, because it's his home track.
Right.
You know, like the Race of Champions.
He didn't have to run that race.
The Race of Champions race in New Egypt. They didn't have to race on that
and they
rough
all
track.
went out there.
They all went out and they stayed out there and they ran.
Yep.
And that was a rough
track. Right, but it all depends. Like, I understand they loaded up on home, but if I'm not running
for
points...
But he didn't have to race.
Right, he didn't have to race.
No.
Right, they showed up to try to race, and if not, okay.
Yep.
And you know, they retained the right to bitch because they went and gave it an effort to run. They tried to qualify for the race, and they decided, hey, we better cut our losses, pack this thing up, and get the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah, and again, that's their choice.
Exactly.
You know, every racer has that same choice.
Yep.
What did you think? I was entertained by the... I don't ever want to see guys flip or anything, but the reaction to the crash in the video. If you Thomas Racing videos on YouTube, if you didn't see the highlights.
The fire video?
No. Yeah, it was in the same video, but Joe August and Dale Plank.
That was awful. That was awful. I'm hoping... Now, I don't know what Dale Plank saw, but I'm hoping he did not know he was there.
No, I think he did, because I would think I did.
Well, I think he did too, but I'm hoping that he didn't.
But what do you do? What's the etiquette? Here's the question. What's the etiquette when a guy comes up to kick your ass?
I like the judgment that he drove away, but once he realized he was on the car, why did it take him so long to stop the car?
He wasn't going that fast.
Well, hey,
he was still moving.
He wasn't going
his
that
feet,
fast.
His
He was
feet
looking
were
for a
dragging.
soft
He almost
spot.
ran over his own feet.
Well, that's his problem. Let go of the car.
But that's what I'm saying. It was very, very dangerous. That's what bothered me about it.
Okay.
Because he walked away and everything was fine, nobody was hurt. Okay, you look back now, it was kind of comical.
Yes.
But it was very, very dangerous. He could have been run over.
But whose decision was it to go after him in the race car?
I'm just saying. As far as Dale, that's why I say I hope he didn't know he was there, because if he saw him and kept going,
I'm telling you right now, if he got run over,
it would have been ugly.
If he got run over,
real bad.
Would have been ugly.
Whose fault is it?
Well,
and if you watch the video, they tried stopping him from going to the car, and he pushed the guy to the ground.
That would be the court. That would be the judge's decision.
Yes, exactly.
But again,
that would be the judge's decision.
But again, if you watch the video, there was a track guy on the track that tried stopping him from getting to the car, and he pushed the guy out of the way.
I know. I saw.
So whose fault is it in that sense?
The guy, Joe August, was obviously.
What does Dale Plank do there?
At fault for trying to climbing on the car in the first place.
Right.
Yep.
But
that's called contributory negligence.
Dale is also at fault if he knows he's on the car and he's still driving it down the racetrack.
Also called contributory negligence.
When it comes to fighting, there's a couple of basic rules. You don't fight dudes in helmets, and you don't try to jump into a guy's race car.
Sense.
No.
You don't punch a guy with a helmet.
You don't.
Somebody should let Michael Waltrip know that.
Yeah.
You don't fight dudes in helmets, especially if they're in a
or
2,500
don't be
pound
like
race
Jeff
car.
Gordon, walk up to a guy and shove him with your helmet on. That's a tough guy. Come on.
Good thing you got your Hans device on, Jeff.
Yeah, I know. It's
why I like hockey players. They drop the gloves, they take the helmets off, and they beat the living crap right out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's... My thing is, though, but if you go to a guy's car and try to attack him while he's in the car... you've crossed the line. I mean, I've seen it happen at Fonda.
That happens all
you know what?
Ray
over
Zemkin went after Troy Palmer, I believe it was, and the same thing happened.
I got a
It
feeling.
happens all the time.
I've got a feeling if we had Joe sitting on the couch next to John over here, if we asked him now after he had a minute to cool off, if he'd do it the same all over again,
Oh, I guarantee you wouldn't.
he'd say hell no.
He was lucky he did not get run over.
If we're watching the video with him right now,
I don't know
he'd
how
say,
his
who
feet
the
didn't
hell
get
is
run
that
over.
guy? And
Yeah,
why
I mean,
did he do that?
obviously the heat of the moment changes everything. We
I
know
watched that video.
We've
And
all
once-
been in there.
Well, here's the thing. Once he grabbed a hold of it, and Dale was already moving when he jumped on the car.
Yeah.
Once he made that choice to jump on the car, he couldn't let go at that point because if he lets go, there's a good chance he's run over.
But when you roll those dice and jump on a car that you already see is moving, you got to
your
understand
own
the guy in the car probably isn't going to stop.
He's not going to stop.
You're going to stop
I'm
and
not
let him
stopping.
kick your ass.
I got to tell you, I'm moving. I'm doing what Dale Point did because I do not want to get my butt kicked.
I don't fault Dale for when you see him
I don't
running.
think Dale was going to get his butt
when you
kicked,
see
but he
him
was
running,
definitely wasn't in the aggressor seat.
When you,
but you don't
when you
want to get
see
hit.
him running at you, Dale made the right decision to drive away to stay out of the confrontation. Where I fault him is if he knew once he was going and he realized he was on the car, hanging on it, and he was dragging him, that's when he should have immediately stopped. And I have a feeling
And you got to stay committed to your cause.
I have a feeling he knew he was there.
Well,
and
let me
didn't
ask you this:
immediately stop.
why would you stop? Let the guy punch you? The whole
Because
reason
you
you're
could,
moving is
because
you
you
don't
could
get
kill
punched.
him.
He's looking
It's
for
his fault.
That's
What's
right.
he's not going to hurt him because he's got a helmet on. What's the guy going to punch his head?
No, you're still. It's still.
Somebody tries to enter your road vehicle and you're moving.
That's
Are you
different.
gonna
You're not in a helmet.
How?
I'm driving.
That's your logic. Is you got a helmet?
If you've got a helmet on, how's he going to hurt him? What's he going to punch the freaking helmet?
Hold on, homie. You're going for a ride.
To me, if you go after somebody in a race car and they drag you by the car, that's your fault.
Yep.
It's both your fault.
You shouldn't go after. No, it's not. You should not go after a
Chicken
guy in a
before
race
the egg,
car.
bro.
Yeah, you shouldn't
Chicken
go after
before
the
the
guy
egg.
in a race car.
It's both at fault.
Yeah.
Well, we'll agree to disagree like we always do.
Well, I'm going to agree that you're an idiot.
This week I got support for that.
It's all good.
This is so wrong.
We're having fun.
Oh, God.
No, it's a fun discussion to have, you know.
It is. I feel for everybody involved in
It sucks.
the
You
whole
never
deal.
want to see a guy wreck his car, and I understand when you do wreck your car, you do things and you say things
Yep.
that you normally wouldn't do. And I'm sure if we were all in the same situation, we're all going to go show our displeasure.
Everybody's going to react a different way.
I mean, so I don't fault Joe for what he did. He was pissed off.
Yep.
You do things.
He'll do it in the pits next time.
Yeah,
He'll walk
I mean-
over to the hall.
No, he'll
and say,
never jump on somebody's car again.
Never
Guarantee
again. Guarantee.
Yeah. So, I mean, hey.
I still cannot figure out how his feet were not run over. His feet were dangling right near that left rear tire, and how they.
It's better than the last one that happened. I mean, I remember when it happened to Ray Zemkin at Fonda. He did not let
He told
go.
me all about it.
And he literally
wasn't there, so I
got
didn't see it.
peeled off the other car.
Oh.
Like the kid, it was a younger kid. It was a budget, the 602s, and there was a red flag. And Ray got out and went down and started grabbing the kid in the car. So the kid, hits the gas. Ray holds on. Well, ultimately, Ray doesn't let go. So the kid pulls up alongside
once
Brian.
the car's moving, you can't let
He
go.
pulls
you
up
made that bed, you gotta
alongside.
lay in it.
He pulls up beside another car and just peels him off like a bug. I was really like at the time.
Thought
I'm
he
like,
killed
oh
him.
my god, he's going to get seriously hurt here. But
There was
ultimately,
another.
you know,
That happened in another track where somebody pinched the guy that was hanging off the car, pinched him against another vehicle.
like, what are you going to
It
do
wasn't.
though?
It wasn't like Ray, where we used the other car like a spatula. He actually pulled him and mashed him between the two doors. Got him
Yeah.
off.
You
Yeah.
use the car as a pick. That's what you're supposed to do.
pick and roll, pick and
Got
roll.
him
But
off.
I mean, what do you
That's
do?
what you're supposed to do. I thought you just said you're supposed to stop,
No.
or you're supposed to let go.
I'm kidding.
I don't think you are. I don't think you're paying attention to an argument.
Oh
you
my
need to
God,
you
I'm
need to gather
kidding.
yourself.
I'm
Gather
kidding.
Pull yourself together.
gather yourself over there.
Good grief.
What do you do
Sit
on a
this one
midget
out.
if somebody jumps on it?
What?
You help the little bugger out. That's what you do if somebody jumps on your midget. Come here, little fella. Let me give you a hand here.
One other piece of news that came out is Stuart Friesen gets a late model ride for the World of Outlaws.
Chubb Frank car at Fonda.
Yep, this week coming up the 19th.
He's got a
so
Chubb
what do you
Frank
think?
ride.
What do you think?
I think it's
18th,
cool. It's
19th?
great for Stewie, but
You're not
let's
done.
face it, Chubb's stuff has not been all that great the last couple of years.
Is
so.
is that him or is it his stuff?
No, it's not Chubb Frank. Come on, the guy's got
Chubb's
a
over.
pretty storied career in late models. He knows what he's doing. He's just,
I think if the
he
gears,
has struggled the last couple of
Yeah,
years.
it's Wednesday the 19th. World of Outlaws, first ever appearance at the Track of Champions.
it'll be a blast to see. It'll be a blast to see.
You
one of
going?
their- I'm gonna go. Friesen's in a late model. Hell yeah, why not?
I might go and sit in the stands and
Yeah.
enjoy myself.
Oh yeah, I won't bring my camera. I'll go just to watch. I think that'd be a friggin' experience to see what he can do. We've seen what he can do in a sprint car. You know what I mean? It's amazing seeing Friesen in a sprint car and then in modifieds, anything he gets into. I dig it.
It's not a surprise to see one of the modified guys get one or two guys get a ride, because we've always seen that every time the late models have come to New York. It always seems like a couple guys pick up a ride. So
you see Tim Fuller was top 10 at the Dream?
No.
Yeah, they did.
Who won the Dream?
It was the best ride he had all weekend.
Bloomquist, right?
It's his 6th, yeah.
Okay.
Future felon.
6 times.
Again.
6 times he's won $100,000 in that race. Just those 6 races, $600,000.
Amen to that.
And Tim McCready was 11th in that.
Nice. So
they did well.
Saturday, it was the best he had run all weekend. He wasn't very good all weekend. The two prelim nights, he didn't run very well.
But
he got the first night,
Tim
McCready. Fuller, I think, started on the front row in that race. I saw the highlights the other day, and there was a black and green 19 that started on the outside pole, and I'm assuming it had to be Fuller because his car is black and green. So.
Right.
The highlights didn't say his name, but I think it was his car.
Yeah, I haven't watched the highlights yet. Probably won't.
Not going to do it. Couldn't care less.
That's how sad is that? Like, we're so spoiled.
That's an awesome.
I know.
That's an awesome.
I'm sure
event.
it's an awesome event.
I've been to that race, and it's a great race, great event. And it's even better now with the prelim nights.
I was there when Shaver won it over Bloomquist.
I was there.
I'm incorrect in that. Bloomquist won, and he came up light on the scales, and the win went to Shaver.
He got DQ'd.
Josh Richards was light, right? 32 pounds or something?
Yes, he was light.
How do you get 32 pounds light? That's a lot.
You scale the car before you put gas in it.
That's 32 pounds is a lot.
The year I went in 06, Bloomquist won that friggin' race, too.
Yeah.
That was one of those deals like when I went to Knoxville in 09.
I
went all the way to Eldora for the Dream with only one
guy
thing.
you did not want to see
Do
win.
not win this race, got Bloomquist, and sure as shit he doesn't win that thing. Same thing happened to me with Knoxville and Shots.
Well, if it makes
the
you feel
one
any
guy
better,
you don't want to see win is
I've been there,
Shots.
7 times or 6 times now, and I've
he's
seen
won most of them.
He's won all of them but one.
Yeah.
The 50th.
Yep.
And that's only because he blew him out. Schaefer was
broke.
there, but his motor went bad on the last lap. Like, Schaefer passed him, then the motor went and started smoking.
They run fastest before they come apart.
He is so good in that race. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's sick. Even being 50 laps doesn't.
No, it hasn't changed.
Affect
and that's what a lot of people thought. Changing the distance in the Knoxville Nationals would maybe help break that stranglehold that Shots has had on that event.
No.
And if anything, it's made it worse.
Made it easier for him.
Because he's better on the long run.
Right. The longer the race goes, the faster he goes.
So.
Oh, hey.
Man.
It is what it is. But.
Yep.
Well, what's it look like for the weekend? What are you guys up to? I know I'm going to. It looks like I-88 maybe tomorrow.
Really?
And then I'm thinking that, and then Glen Ridge is what my original plan is. But
bringing
I know,
your swimmies?
No, I'm hoping Glen Ridge is my original plan. That's my first choice. But with the way Mother Nature's looking, it's not going to. I know they don't drain well up there on the mountain. You think on top of the mountain they would drain real well, but it just kind of sits in puddles, and it's real tough. Mm-hmm. For him to get things cleared away. And then I'll be at Lebanon Valley on Saturday for the Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints. Actually, our racing there is pretty good. I got to admit, the 2 races that we've had there that I've announced have been awesome. Steve Poirier comes from like 20-something and finishes in wins the dang thing. Yeah. And I mean, it's been impressive.
You don't have any painting to do in your house, do you? Before you leave, I'll go watch it dry.
I understand. Here we go. This is how
I like that whole setup thing. It took a while to get there, but it was worth it.
You know what? Here's the funny part. If he could go Saturday, he would. That's the sad part. Yes, you would.
No racing for me this weekend.
You're so full of crap.
No racing for me this weekend.
You would go if
I only go to the Valley if it's free.
Exactly. So that would be if it was free, you would go.
It's reality. I only go if it's free.
So I'll be out at the Black Rock Speedway for the IMCA Modifieds. They got their
that's Sunday, right?
Sunday. Empire Products.
They're off Friday and they're racing Sunday.
Or what is it? Yeah, World Products Empire State Series for the IMCA Modifieds. I dig those guys, man. When they get their own show, man, they put on a real good deal, and a good bunch of drivers. They really take up for each other, and they race each other hard, and for the most part, try not to kill each other. And I think it'll be a real good race out of Black Rock on Sunday.
No racing for me this weekend. The missus is in a wedding Saturday, so we got the rehearsal dinner tomorrow and then the wedding on Saturday.
Oh, that sounds
I'll go
fun.
with her.
Yeah. If she'll take you, go ahead.
Maybe you can do all the racing you want. I like weddings.
Yeah. Oh, I hate weddings.
I like bridesmaids more than weddings, I think.
Yeah, I figured, yeah.
I'm dancing with something.
Of all the guys to take it downhill tonight, it's been him.
Wasn't me.
And you know what? I can tell that he got home at He got home at 1:30 in the morning. He was editing pictures till 2:30 in the morning, and he slept about 3 hours, and he had to go to work.
I'm just overtired, man.
You're giddy.
Oh,
Everything is giddy.
Everything's
he's
funny.
Giddy. Yep.
Everybody's happy and pretty.
Yeah.
It's all good.
This
What's
weekend
up?
I'm editing video. That's my game plan for the weekend. I got lots of video to go.
How's the
through.
message
Lots
board
of
doing? I'm really concerned with the message board. Wait, is everybody okay on the message board?
Well, nobody's asking about you if that's your problem.
Well,
I got my fair
like 'em.
share of beat down this week.
Yeah.
I didn't. You know what's funny is somebody commented that I was not very good on Sunday, and I said that to John Tiff at the end of the night. I said I suck. I had one of those nights where
You weren't very good. What, Utica?
Yeah, I was just not.
Somebody said you weren't very good at announcing. You mean?
Yeah.
That night.
Have I got a story for you, Mike?
Which hold on, just a second. Which I will give them credit; they were right because I was just off. I had Bill passed away on Saturday, and I was just not.
So they meant that night, not in general.
Yeah. They obviously don't listen to me more than once. But no, and I said I wasn't. I just wasn't. I couldn't focus on what I was doing. I was really worried about what had happened. So
Yeah, the missus used to work with his wife at CHC.
Oh yeah,
in Johnstown.
Yeah, it was very sad. I mean, it was. I will say this. I posted on my Facebook to see all the people that came out to support the family on Tuesday. I went to the wake, and just to see the support for him was awesome.
Yeah.
It was amazing. So I mean, sad to lay a guy to rest. A guy that you just look at as almost. I think DC said it best. When we were at there, he was like our fatherly figure when we were at his place. He was always, taking care of us.
He's always yelling at you for swearing.
No, he was not, because I was the enforcer of the rule.
Yeah, okay.
Because the cursing and the use of foul language are prohibited while on these premises. Yeah. I'm telling John, you ask anybody that was that in our clique, George or GT or any of those guys.
See, that's the thing. You had to be part of the clique.
Well, you're not cool enough, so
that's life.
Yeah. Well, you didn't go to Fonda ever.
Huh?
You weren't at Fonda then. That much. You were living out here already.
I've only been out here 4 years.
Yeah, there you go. So, but no, I enforced the rule. I was hoping. Zupi was even in that group, so it wasn't exclusive.
Well, then you definitely didn't have to be cool to be in it.
Yeah, no, right. That's right. So, but no, so but again, we'll miss Bill. He was a good dude, and we had a lot of fun. And I posted on the forum that I'll have a lot of things. A lot of memories that I can take away from there, and a lot of things that I won't remember, but I know they were fun. So
yeah,
it was great.
I had a super dirt week like that once.
Yeah. We won't talk about
high five.
That.
Well, you were there for that, right? High five every 2 minutes. High five. It's like Putty and Seinfeld. High five. This is an awesome.
I want to
time.
drink as many different kinds of drinks as I possibly can in the next hour,
including a whole bottle of Jameson.
Good Lord Almighty!
Nice. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, he did not mess around.
Little racing update.
What do you got? Midgets, here it comes.
Yeah, USAC Midget Week. Night 2 is tonight at Lincoln Park Speedway in Indiana. And Kyle Larson has won Heat 1 over Rico, his teammate.
Yeah.
Dave Darlin.
What was the other? Yeah, what was the other thing you were going to ask me, Chris?
Very fitting.
You had something to say.
Oh, I was announcing it at Metal Destruction in Cuba, and there was this guy off the stage, and he was running his mouth, and one of the officials of the show chased him off. Mm-hmm. And I was moving one of the cameras around, and I went sprinting through the pits real quick, and I came across the guy. And he said something quick, and I didn't catch it, and I was on my way back up to the announcer stand, and he said it again. I stopped. I said, I didn't catch it. What did you say again? And he goes, I said, you are the worst effing announcer I have ever heard.
I love it. Nice. Like I always say, I mean, you take your good with your bad. Sometimes you got good days, sometimes you have bad days. But with the announcing gig, the thing that there really isn't, there isn't a sick day or there isn't a personal day. Like
there's no off day.
No, you go and it's sometimes you're good. Sometimes you're mediocre in my case, and
he's the only
bad.
person who said anything at all whatsoever about it being bad. Everybody else is like, "Oh, it was great. I can't believe you know all this about the drivers." Blah blah blah. Because I do know stats about demolition derby drivers. I know that reduces me a human being in most of your eyes, and that's okay with me. But I knew all that stuff and put it out there, and I was like stoked to be able to announce that show. It was something I wanted to do for the last couple of years.
Big show.
This dude, he goes, you are the worst effing announcer I have ever heard. And
Thank you for your support.
And I said, wow. He goes, no, really, you mother effing suck. I'm like,
wow.
Okay, all right. You know what? How have you been anyway? I
You
haven't
got to
seen you.
respect his conviction, though. He didn't say you're real bad at this.
No,
No.
he
Oh,
told
no.
you all the way that you suck.
I respect him.
Right off
You know
the
what?
top.
Hey, I'm fine with it.
Hey,
you know,
there was no guesswork on what he thought.
Did you throw something afterwards?
No.
let's be honest.
No, I was
if
like,
you work in this business
whatever.
doing anything, whether it's photos, writing, whatever,
It was one of those things. I'm like, you know what?
You're
You're one
not
guy.
going to like it. There's some people that think you're the greatest thing ever, and there'll be, some people that say you suck, and I'm fine with that. Like,
Yep.
I understand that that's how this business works. If you don't like me, that's fine.
That's how life kind of works.
Yeah, I mean,
If you're doing enough
I
of
have
something-
guys that I really enjoy listening to.
Yeah.
I listen to announce, and like the guy Pete Vortman down at New Egypt. I love that guy. I think he is a great announcer. He just sounds good.
Yep.
He's just knowledgeable, and I like Jeff Allen too. Like I
like Jeff too.
I like those guys. So
Tony Bacco
and then
rocks.
there's guys that Tony Bacco, another one. Like, and then there's guys you just can't stand. Like I'm not gonna say that do any of that, but
Sure.
there's people you're like, ugh,
I know one that drives me nuts that you love.
stop.
We won't go there.
So but I always say, again, just it is what it is. It's not an easy job, and it's and just the announcer isn't everything. If the racing's good and so on, you get over it. I mean, it's and people will say, well, I don't. The one he had a problem that I didn't talk a lot during intermission, which at some point you need a break.
The promoter did get upset with me right at the end during the last red flag because I said this is $3,500 to win, and we all showed up for a demolition derby in a game of bumper cars with adults broke out. Oh, because they were all sandbagging.
Oh man,
nice.
well, what do you think? About right? Hour and a half
Yeah.
on the money.
This was good.
Yeah, we're dead on.
This was
Jay,
cathartic.
wake the hell up.
This was cathartic for me.
One last.
I think you said 6 words tonight.
This was restful.
Yeah, you
At
said
one
6
point
words, and all of them brought the show downhill.
Yeah, at one point I looked at him, and I'm pretty sure his eyes were glazed over, and there was a piece of drool coming out of the left side of his face.
I know that's only the second time somebody's fallen asleep on the show.
Yeah, I think I did it the first time. No. So
I just want to say one last thing about what happened last night with Leffler. I was fortunate enough and thankful that I got to see him race quite a bit. Having go to the Chili Bowl as many years as I have, I've seen him win a prelim night there and stuff. So, seen him race in a lot of bush races and some truck races in the past, and big loss. Really sucks. So,
Again,
I wore my Leffler shirt today. I got a little Jason Leffler Chili Bowl shirt.
Be sure to check out DelcoSigns.com. Delco Signs is a vinyl shop down there in the heart of all that sprint car track stuff down there between Lincoln and Williams Grove, and they're selling $5 Jason Leffler decals and stickers, and the proceeds of that are going to go to Charlie, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Make sure you check them out, DelcoSigns.com.
Amen.
Amen to that.
We good, Mike?
I'm good.
We good? You going to be back here next week or what?
Yeah, what's your deal? You here?
What is
you
next
back
week? I gotta look.
What's today?
I think I'm
13th?
back. I
So
think
it's
so.
the 20th?
I think so.
All right.
I'll
Well,
let you
we'll
know.
look forward to it. We're all
Maybe.
going to be back here next week on the 31st lap.
www.fingerlakes1.com